Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Brian if you happen to be new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, you sexy beast. That's what you get for subscribing, by the way. Free compliments at the start of these videos. And this video is going to be, I think, a lot of fun. I've been having this on my back burner for a little while, and today we're going to be talking about why I'm excited for Ashes of Creation. It's going to be generally very positive, which from my experience within the YouTube algorithm means for the handful of people who are actually watching it, you are doubly awesome, and thank you for actually clicking on this video. I'm really excited about Ashes. I've been following this game for a long time, but that is also to be said that I still have concerns. I've got questions. I see red flags all over the place, but that is also a nature of development. I'm going to focus this video, this topic specifically on why I'm hopeful for Ashes and why I think it can succeed, especially in a modern MMO market that I think has somewhat corrupted overall the underlying theory or the underlying joy about the MMO specifically. And I think Ashes has a lot, or at least in terms of what they've been saying, a lot of positive things, a lot of ways that I think MMOs can really truly evolve and really truly step into a new era of gaming. And so that's what we're going to focus in on. If you guys also haven't seen, Ashes is going to have their developer update on September 30th. I'm going to live cover those here. In fact, you're going to be getting a lot more Ashes of Creation news and discussion. Obviously, you'll get guides when the game is out. But as we lead into the alpha, I'll be making sure that I'm taking part of that and giving you guys that coverage here on the channel. So that way you guys can know, is it going to be worth your time? Is it going to be worth your money? Or does it end up having some more red flags that we'll see along the way? Long story short, we'll have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, I think there's nothing wrong with actually being hyped or excited for Ashes. At the same time, I do think Ashes is overhyped to a degree that even if it delivers everything on paper, I still feel like there's going to be a backlash because it didn't deliver one feature or another that people had expected, even though it was either not promised or people's own imagination kind of runs wild. It's kind of a rule of comedy. Like, you don't want to take too long setting up your punchlines, namely because the audience is smart and they'll figure it out. And what you have is that you have a lot of people like myself, a lot of people who are excited about this game, hearing about these features and then dreaming about how good it could be. Then ultimately reality will set in, and even if it is good, it's still going to struggle. But I did promise this video is going to be positive, so let's go ahead and dive in. Now, first and foremost, you should understand my background with MMORPGs. I come from Final Fantasy XI. That is where MMOs were set in, kind of had its foundation. So I have a very social nature to it. I'm also a dad and somebody who works and has a lot of responsibilities. So I also understand how difficult being MMOs can be for players who are no longer like in their teens or in their 20s and having a lot of free and available time. But I don't think that means what MMOs have evolved into. We've seen so many features come in, so much convenience come into the genre, that there's things that you start to question, why is this even an MMO in the first place? And that's what I like to explore and get your thoughts on as well, because what really truly defines an MMO? I've heard people talk about in these grand schemes of massive, right? Like lots of players, lots of things going on, but also in the terms of like this grind, you have to go and really just like grind it out to do anything in this game. And I think MMOs are set for a revolution. I think these things are happening already in New World, whether you like that game or not. Just note that New World is doing some very interesting things, and just like with Ashes adopting the moniker of Sand Park as opposed to Sandbox and Theme Park, you kind of merge those together. So I'm really thrilled that Ashes is actually talking about itself in terms of a Sand Park MMORPG, because I think that's where the genre needs to go. There's nothing wrong with having that beautiful curated questline MSQ driven experience to kind of really introduce you to the world, but then once that's done, you end up having all these other things that take part in it. So Ashes, with a player driven economy, with how they're structuring the node system to be able to kind of have that player, almost in a way response, like player driven content to a degree. This is really exciting. This could be very, very interesting. Sure, there are going to be people who don't like that, people who want to be efficient, but I don't think MMOs are actually about efficient. For me, they're about immersion, stepping into a world, being a part of that world to a degree, having that experience to be able to be a small cog in an overwhelmingly big machine. That is something that I think is really important, and that kind of have that feeling where you step in and you're not the hero of all heroes, but you are somebody who can infect change in the world ever so slightly. So I think that's actually really interesting. And this will lead to drama. This will lead to issues within different servers and regions. This is a guarantee that that's going to happen, but that isn't bad. We shouldn't shy away from those things. I think that's what actually makes these games attractive. I think that's what helps these games and players write their own stories. Do you remember when this happened? And because of that, these other things started to daisy chain off of that, the domino effect, if you will. And yes, that's, I think, something that I'm personally very excited to see as I look into the future, as I look into what MMOs can be. I think Ashes is setting itself up in a very, very unique position where, when you start to look at the aging MMO, like not just the player base, but the aging MMO games out there, what's going to make Ashes stand out? And I think it's essentially driven by technology. It's driven by ideas within that system. It seems like they're definitely taking their time to think about how these systems have an impact on each other. The one thing I will say that I do hope to see, kind of in terms of experimentation or in terms of listening to player feedback, I do hear a lot of players talk about the fear and concern over PvP. Yes, if you can flag and murder, and yes, if you can get your name into a red state and people can go and put bounties and go and hunt you down, there's still going to be people who are attracted to that mindset, that lifestyle, and that's going to be the game that they actually want to play. And I think they should. I'm not going to sit here and want to take that away from them, but I would make the argument, I've made this argument in every MMO that I've played. Personally speaking, I would love to see server-based settings so that if you are concerned at all about that kind of gameplay, maybe just make a server that is, specialized to where maybe that one thing doesn't happen. It's the same thing with like Final Fantasy 14, like Final Fantasy 11 players wanting that hard open world content. Well, why don't it be so cool to see if there was just a specialized server that had appealed to that? Same thing with even a New World with always on PvP. Like, I would really be very pro in terms of not having to make a brand new game or having to compromise the vision of said game, but essentially kind of create those rules. Kind of, if you think of a game master to a degree, where certain servers could have specialized rules that would just kind of change a little pieces of the game, but wouldn't have to overall like change the foundational structure of the game itself to open up the game to more players. And that's going to be real key, I think, because for me, I don't think Ashes needs to have millions and millions of concurrent players to actually be successful based off their business model alone. And I think that's going to be really interesting to see how public reception is built around the game itself. When this does happen, do people need to see big numbers in order for Ashes to be a success? And I don't think that's actually the case. It is going to be interesting to see. I think one of the challenges that they are going to face absolutely is in a subscription based kind of model. We've seen a lot of games kind of struggle with that recently, but that's where, as a data guy, like, I would love to see another data point on the chart to really kind of highlight and really kind of communicate to the greater game development world that, yeah, like maybe MMOs can continue to have those kind of business models, but here is what you need to do in order for those to be a success. At the end of the day, like, this is going to be, I think, the most interesting. Again, I'm still thinking 2025, so buckle up, guys. We'll have Ashes here on the channel itself. I haven't yet decided if it needs its own channel from me, namely because I feel like we're still so far away from the game itself, but I'm happy to talk about it here, at least in the short term. And then if it requires its own channel, then making a channel focused solely around the development of Ashes of Creation and what is to come. Anyway, guys, I'm looking forward to your thoughts. If you guys are curious, I do have that creator referral link for Ashes. I've had that actually for a very long time. That's going to be in the description of this video if you want to go check it out. I'm going to be stepping into Alpha 2 whenever we start to get more news on that. I was debating on just waiting into into Beta 1, but honestly, I'm kind of curious as to each and every one of you where this game stands and more. So I'm expecting Alpha 2 sometime early in 2023, and from there we'll obviously wait and see what the game's gonna hold and unfold and more. So thank you guys so much for your time today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for the live stream so we can react and kind of digest the information and discuss it as well. But anyway, without further ado, guys, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time. But until then, take care.